Hello guys, this week's training is all about filling your classes. So in terms of filling your classes, the first question I always ask if someone says to me, I'm really struggling, is have you got a high enough visibility? Are enough people seeing the offer that you're putting out there? And if the answer is, well, yeah, because I'm posting on social media all the time, then actually the real answer is probably not. It's not enough to just post on social media anymore and fill your classes. Bear in mind that the algorithms only show your audience about 1%, only about 1% see what you're doing. So where you think, oh, it's going out to thousands, it's probably not. So make sure that you have genuinely got the visibility and that they're seeing it enough times. You know, posting that you're doing a class one time is not going to fill your spaces. It's just not good enough. Total honesty. Also worth noting that a trend in the children's activity provider industry is since COVID, people are booking later. So it's becoming a little bit like a game of chicken where we are, as providers, we're putting on classes and no one's booking. And that game of chicken comes in where we're kind of going, it's nearly the class. Should I cancel the class or should I just hold firm and wait for the bookings? So holding firm and waiting for the bookings actually is paying off. And I'll tell you in a second how I filled my last class. But that game of chicken is terrible really as a provider, because you're looking at it kind of going, well, I've got these costs to pay out. Should I cancel and save the costs? If you do that every time you're nervous about filling your class, you don't have a business, you have a really expensive hobby. Because if you're not willing to swallow some of the costs, I don't mean make a loss every single time, but if you're not willing to swallow some of the costs that come with trying to get regular established classes, then actually you'll never establish a class. Okay, sometimes you are going to have to take the hit, unfortunately. But like I said, the good news is that the trend is that people are booking much later. They need to see you early, they need to see you more times, and they will take action, but they will take action much, much later than you want them to. So that game of chicken's not much fun. How did I fill my last class? So my last class was full up, all the spaces were taken, which was great. And here are some of the key things that I did. I made sure that I advertised the class well ahead of time. Yes, I've just said people are taking late action, but they need to see it more. We need to give it longer to seed the idea that someone might want to come to your class. So in terms of getting that class promoted, I actually started advertising it 4 whole months before the class was happening. It had 4 months. And I advertised other things around that, but 4 months it took to fill that class in reality. I made sure that on everything that I posted about that class, it had clear pricing structure. So customers knew exactly what they were paying and what they were getting. And I also made sure that there was always a really clear booking link. If it's too hard, if people have to email you, if people have to DM you and do other stuff, they're not going to bother. It's too confusing for them. It's too much to think about. They'll just find a provider that they can just easily book with. So making sure that you've got a clear purchase journey is really, really essential, particularly now where we're all so busy. And if you're advertising your classes on Instagram, make sure that you have a route and you signpost the route for them to be able to get the link. You can't just put a link in your post in Instagram because it doesn't work. So make sure you have set up a journey and telling them, great, go to my bio or go to my buy now highlights or go to my stories, wherever you're gonna put that link. Make sure that they know where it is. Which is exactly what I did to fill my last class. A lot of my bookings came from Instagram. Also, make sure that you utilise your customer list. So again, the way that I sold out my last class was I didn't just promote it on social media. I put up posters in the local area, local to the venue. But I made really good use of my email database. I contacted previous customers that the class was relevant for. I went out to all of the local providers in the area that were Ofsted registered or needed to be Ofsted approved for their first aid, because it was a first aid class. So what I did was I niched down on who really needs this class, who needs to come, who's the ideal customer, where are they, and how do I reach them? And a lot of that was through email. Now, I didn't just email them once and say, I've got a class, please come and buy it. I actually emailed them. I didn't spam them loads and loads and loads of times either. I sent them the offer, told them about it, and then I did that again, you know, about a month later. So I didn't just pester the life out of them, but what I did do in my communications with them was I made it clear the value, the fact that there was going to only be a certain number of places because I could only take a certain number of people. And I also, the key thing that I did for this one was I told them that the class was going to sell out. So I contacted them multiple times. I followed up with anyone who was interested, anyone who's, oh, you know, that might work for us, or have you got this date? I followed up and I said, this is the date, this is what I've got, and I'm going to sell out. So having a sold out mindset is actually really, really important, because if you're confident that it's going to sell out, your customers or your potential customers, they get scarcity. They don't want to miss out. Did I genuinely know that the class was going to sell out? Yeah, actually I did this time round. I don't always, but this time round, yeah, I absolutely knew, because I threw everything at it for 4 months. I also contacted customers that might need their renewal around that time as well, to say, hi, don't miss out. Did I discount any places? No. You know, there was no discounting strategy or anything like that. I literally just knew in my mind that we were going to sell out, and I told people that, and we did. Not a load of woo-woo nonsense. I'm not a particularly woo-woo person, but my attitude towards the class is what sold it, because my customers picked up on that and they went, oh, I need that class, I'm going to buy it. So with that in mind, here are some key tips for you to get your classes filling and selling out, hopefully. So the first one, as I've already said, long lead time on promotion, but expect a last minute rush. Don't cancel that class, leave it until the last minute, because you'll get bookings. Use your database and your customer list. You know, we get so caught up in posting on social media, but actually you're more likely to sell from your list, your previous customers, or if you've got a database of, you know, potential local providers, etc., or local parents, or whoever it is that you're selling to. Make sure that you are using your list, not just once. Follow up. The follow up is what's key. Next up, where we kind of bring in this game of chicken, I've only got 1 or 2 people. I used to think, oh no, I've got 1 person booked on, I'm going to have to make up an excuse and cancel it, and it's just awful. Now, actually, if you've only got 1 or 2 people booked on, fabulous. You've got people booked on. So don't just cancel it just because there's 1 or 2. We cancel it because as providers we go, oh, that's going to look awful. It's going to look like nobody wants my class. It's going to look dreadful. But actually, for that 1 or 2, you know, customers that are in your class, it's a huge selling point that it's a small class for them, because they're going to get more of your attention. They're going to get better value for money because there's less of them. So don't see it as a negative. See it as a positive and just run with it. It's absolutely fine. What you can do, if you've only got a couple of people booked on and you've still got spaces, is go out to those people that are booked on and say, hey, guess what, you know, great news, I've still got some spaces left for this class. Do you know anybody that would like to come? Particularly, again, if you're a children's activity provider or someone who provides a service, where you can kind of go, right, who else do you know? Because they're already your target audience, you know, they've already bought from you. Who else do you know that would want to come along? Why don't you invite them? I've definitely sold a lot of places just doing that alone. Again, it's a good follow-up. You know, by the way, we've got spaces. Have you thought about inviting your friends? Why don't you do, you know, the class is more fun with your friends, or, you know, the service or whatever it is. Okay. So see it as a marketing opportunity when you get 1 or 2 people booked on, and use it to try and drive more sales, more bookings. Promote your classes in different places. Don't just post on social media and go, oh, well, I've put it everywhere. You haven't. By the way, there are over 3 billion people on Facebook. So if you've posted it in 2 or 3 groups, you haven't put it everywhere. You think you have, but you haven't. Okay, again, just being honest with you. So yes, post it on social media. Post it regularly. It's easy to do that. Share it into your local community groups. Absolutely. Don't boost the post. If you want to put paid ads on it, set up a paid ad campaign. Much better value. Google is really key. I'm getting more and more bookings from Google. Google My Business here is what's prominent, because you can put whatever you put on social media onto Google My Business with a direct link. So actually it's more powerful than Instagram even, because they can link from it. So make sure that you're utilising Google My Business. Put it on your, if you're a franchisee and you're able to, put it on your franchisor website. So at Daisy First Aid, this works really well. The Daisy First Aid website and your franchisor website gets a huge amount of traffic. And they're people who are looking for classes usually. So if you've got a space on the website where you can promote your upcoming menu classes or your upcoming term or your sessions, use that space. It's prime real estate. And again, it will convert much higher than any social media that you ever do. So that is a really good top tip. List it on directories that you can. Go out to local companies and network with local companies as well, because that way you can get them doing some of your marketing for you. You can get them to, you know, share that you've got a class running, and etc, etc. I do this well with a couple of local providers, and again, it works really well. Go live. Don't hide behind posts. Get on your stories. Go live. You know, be visible as yourself talking about your class. Be visible telling people about the benefits and the way that your class helps them. They don't want to just see buy now, buy now, buy now. They want to know why it helps them. And you're always going to communicate that with Know Like Trust much better in person. So use the channels that are there wisely. And also share customer reviews. Don't just tell them, come to this class. Tell them what other customers thought of this class. What was the transformation? How did it make them feel? Why should they come and spend their money with you? You know, you kind of got to prove it. You've got to give them a bit of scarcity, but you've mainly got to give them the motivation of other people have done this and here's how they found it. That FOMO isn't, oh, I'm going to miss out. It's, oh, I want to feel like that. Which leads me nicely into my next point. Don't just repeat buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now. It's boring. Your customers will find it boring and they'll switch off. So look at other ways that you can promote your classes, particularly if you are using social media for this. You know, can you have a countdown of how many spaces are left on the class? You know, only 3 spaces left, only 2 spaces left. It's just more motivating for the customer. Also, can you bring the customer experience of your class to life to show them a little bit of what it is that you're offering them? You know, can you show them pictures from the class? Can you show them some video content from the class? Can you show customers chatting to you on camera about how amazing, you know, their class was, or how they felt after they'd done the class? Shout about the value that you're offering, not just the monetary value. You know, for less than the price of a takeaway, you can come and do this course. Shout about the value of the emotions of it. You know, what are people really getting from your class? And if you don't know that, you're never going to sell out. Okay, so go really deep as the customer. Why do they want to come to your class? What do they get from it? That's how you're going to sell your class. You're not going to sell your class saying, I'm at such and such a hall at this time, book now. That doesn't sell out. That's just information. That's not emotion. That's not connection. That's not enough to push a buyer who's on the edge into actually buying. Okay, so that's really, really important. If you've got spare places in your classes, because you're not quite sold out yet, or maybe you're in that nightmare scenario of like 1 or 2 people, which isn't really a nightmare, by the way, offer some of your spare places out. And it's a weird thing to say because we're trying to fill the class, okay? But if you just literally need some more bums on seats, a really good thing to do is to offer some of your spare places out to local charities or local influencers. And not only are you then just getting bums on seats, you are giving added value to your local community. You're getting links into your local community. You're building your reputation. You're being, you know, that philanthropist. You're showing values that you care. And so the next time somebody asks somebody at that charity, oh, you know, do you know anyone who does such and such a type of class? They'll be like, yeah, actually I do. This person, you know, they're great. So don't be afraid to offer out some free places to local charities are good. If you've got a particular kind of, if you're trying to get into like a school trust, again, you know, one of the influential head teachers at one of the school trust schools, great, you know, get into them, get one of their members of staff on your class. Have you got parent influencers in your local area? If you're trying to get parent classes, can you get them to come to one of your classes and do a little video about it, or a reel or a post? So yeah, use your spare places as an opportunity to spread the word, and it's good for branding as well, actually. My final tip is to go and download my free download, which is 4 ways to fill your class. They are slightly more strategic ways that expand on some of the stuff that I've included tonight. So you can download that right now. Go to www.staceycan.com/full, FULL. I'll put a link in the comments or the wherever as well. But yeah, 4 ways to fill your classes, and it's got some really good tips that will help you work more strategically. Because at the end of the day, if you are someone who runs a business who has constant classes that are one-offs or constant term times to fill, you need to look at this more strategically than just, I need to fill this class, then I need to fill this class, then I need to fill this class, because you'll just be forever chasing your tail. It's not good use of your time. Look at it more holistically, and the download will help you do that. That's it from me. Hope you've got value from the training. Drop a comment below and let me know if there is anything that's particularly resonated with you. Equally, if you've got different ways that you've used to fill your classes, drop them in the comments, share them with everybody else. We can all learn from each other. That's it from me. See you on the next one.